As we come on the air, there are 800,000 people in the state of Arizona who are right now being deprived of full representation in Congress, thanks to House Speaker Mike Johnson's refusal to swear in their Congresswoman-elect, Adelita Grijalva. Mike Johnson has double and triple and quadrupled down on his refusal to seat Grijalva. He is claiming that he's following House traditions of swearing in members only during regular sessions, except that isn't his own tradition. As with many things MAGA Republican, there's an obvious and clear double standard staring us in the face. When Republicans are the ones who win and would benefit, Mike Johnson, as he did in April, swore in 2 new House GOP members during a pro forma session. Watch.
Well, Representatives-elect Fine and Petronas and members of the Florida delegation present themselves in the well. As all members rise and the representatives-elect, will you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which you are about to enter, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations, you're now members of the 119th Congress.
See? Mike, you can do it. That oath was administered when they were not in session, and importantly, within 24 hours of those Republicans' victories. Now, almost a month after Representative-elect Grijalva's victory to represent her late father's district, the state of Arizona is taking legal action. Arizona's Attorney General Kris Mayes has filed a lawsuit against Mike Johnson for blocking Grijalva from being sworn in to do the job she was elected to do. He argues that, quote, constitutional rights cannot be used as a bargaining chip. Attorney General Mayes adds in a piece for MSNBC this, quote, this isn't just an attack on the voters of Arizona's 7th district. It's an affront to every American who has a constitutional right to representation in Congress. Let's be blunt. This is taxation without representation, the very injustice that sparked the American Revolution 250 years ago. As for Mike Johnson's motives for breaking his own very recent precedent and refusing to seat Grijalva, a Democratic representative, we're left to guess, but we do know that Grijalva has promised publicly to be the pivotal 218th signature on the House's bipartisan Epstein discharge petition. The filing from Arizona's Attorney General states this, quote, Speaker Johnson has not identified any valid reason for refusing to promptly seat Ms. Grijalva. Instead, on information and belief, Speaker Johnson wishes to delay seating Ms. Grijalva to prevent her from signing a discharge petition that would force a vote on the release of the Epstein files and or to strengthen his hand in the ongoing budget and appropriations negotiations. That is where we start today. I want to bring in Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva of Arizona. Also joining me at the table, former Criminal Division Deputy Chief at SDNY, MSNBC legal analyst, the host of the YouTube show Courtside, Christy Greenberg is here. Joining us as well, Tara Palmieri. She writes the Red Letter on Substack and has hosted 2 acclaimed podcast series on the topic called Broken, Jeffrey Epstein, and Power, the Maxwells. Representative-elect Grijalva, just take us inside your current state of limbo.
It's basically we have access to what was my dad's office. It'll be my office until December of 2026. We have keys. We have, I have a laptop, but we don't have access to any of the databases that are important. And respectfully, I can't serve constituents until I'm sworn in and actually have constituents.
Have you had any conversations with Speaker Mike Johnson about why he saw to it to swear in 2 Republican representatives when Congress wasn't in session, but won't see to it to swear you in?
You know, I heard him say, there's been no direct conversation with me and Speaker Johnson. He's made flippant comments and sort of these explanations that are and excuses that are debunked on a regular basis. But what he said is that the two members from Florida scheduled an appointment for them to be sworn in, which I'm like, how do I sign up for that gig? And that they brought in their families. And so that's why they made the exception. But so if I sign up and bring in my family, will he swear me in? No, he's basically continued to make excuses about why I'm not sworn in and has not made any effort to communicate those to me directly.
Have you walked into his office and tried to ask him for one of those appointments?
Well, we did go down. I went with a couple of friends down to his office to try to get some attention. He wasn't there. And I respectfully don't know when he is there. I did call. I've left 2 messages. We sent a letter, and then AG May sent a demand letter. I did recently, just yesterday, receive a call from his chief, to sort of, because I called and said, do we schedule a meeting, or how does this happen? Then he gave me the number to another chief to schedule something. But at this point, now that the lawsuit has been filed, it's probably better for me not to have any direct communication with him outside of legal counsel.
Is the lawsuit intended for a court and a judge to require him to swear you in? And would you drop the lawsuit if he proceeded and swore you in?
Well, and this is for Attorney General Mays, to weigh in, but our big issue is swear her in, give us a date. And that's why I think, people have been asking, well, why did we take so long? Well, one, my race is certified. And once that happened, then Attorney General Mays, I think, started looking at, okay, so what are the other reasons? Because being in a shutdown does not preclude swearing people in, because there was a whole class in 2019 that were sworn in during a shutdown. I mean, I've met with many members of Congress that were sworn in a special. It's pretty common, and it's supposed to happen fairly quickly. So this stalling is just really highlighting, why Speaker Johnson is doing this. And the other is it's just blatant obstruction.
What is your sense of how desperate he is to avoid this vote on the discharge petition?
Well, we do know that Speaker Johnson ended cases early to avoid, sent everyone home a week early in order to avoid having this vote on the House floor. So I do think that even if I sign that discharge petition, there's going to be some sort of, in Spanish we call them movidas, something that's going to happen to sort of preclude those files being released. But really, the survivors need justice. And those that are implicated in that information and those files need to be brought to justice.
Let me bring in my colleagues here. Tara Palmieri, the survivors and the victims have not been silenced, and the public support for them and what they want is aligned. 81% of Americans believe Donald Trump is hiding something in the Epstein files, and they believe his leaders at the Department of Justice are involved in a cover-up. That has not gone away with Mike Johnson preventing the 218th vote and swearing in Congresswoman Grijalva. What is your sense of what is happening, maybe that we can't see during this standoff?
Actually, Nicole, I think it's only growing, the desire for the files to be released. I think Virginia Giuffre's memoir and the headlines that are coming out and the repercussions that they're feeling in the UK. There are a lot of questions about why in this country where people are protesting about no kings, you're seeing the monarchy in the UK suffering more as a result of what's inside of the Epstein files than what's happening in the US. But the sense is that there are people that are being protected and departments that are being protected, like the Department of Justice. I think if the Epstein files are revealed, you'll understand more about why Jeffrey Epstein continued to get away with crime starting back in the early 1990s when he was involved in a Ponzi scheme, one of the biggest Ponzi schemes at the time, $300 million. His partner, Stephen Hoffenberg, went to jail for the rest of his life. Jeffrey Epstein helped the prosecutors and he was, he lived for many, many years without facing any arrest. And then he only spent 13 months in a prison for sex trafficking. But, he also helped prosecutors in a Bear Stearns case. I mean, I think that they're afraid of opening Pandora's box, but Virginia's book has already started to do that. And the pressure is going to be too intense.